Welcome to LFN News, a production of LFN Media, bringing you the latest in celebrity news, with specific analysis to keep you in the know of what is going on around you. It became evident that Jennifer Bonjean, R. Kelly's lead attorney, was no ordinary attorney in the just concluded R. Kelly Chicago trial, where, irrespective of all the prejudice portrayed, she was still able to get R. Kelly off the hook on more than half of the counts in his indictment leading to the trial. She and her team put on an impeccable show that could not go unrecognized. Although she featured in the latter days of R. Kelly's New York trial, it was evident she was a little too late to that party, but her New York pre-sentencing submission equally amazed analysts. She went on to announce an appeal to the unfair sentencing in the same trial, making her official submission of the same on July 11, 2022. Jennifer Bonjean filed the notice of appeal, which did not say on what grounds Kelly intended to challenge the verdict, and the 30-year prison sentence he was unfairly given, after he was unfairly found guilty on charges of racketeering and violating the Mann Act. Although her notice of appeal did not specifically state on what grounds R. Kelly would be appealing, we all had gotten an idea on what grounds she would center the appeal, having been very vocal about the fact that there was never an enterprise to warrant the far-reaching racketeering allegations that the government brought into play in that trial. Immediately after R. Kelly's sentencing in June, Bonjean had already publicly announced she would be appealing the case, maintaining that the R&B king was no abuser, something that has clearly come out in the just concluded Chicago trial. Well, knowing Bonjean, we can just as well be certain that she will equally be appealing the Chicago verdict as well, although there has not been any formal submission yet as we still await sentencing. But one question that is probably on everyone's mind is, what approach is she going to take with this one? Well, we know for sure that most of the counts that attracted guilty verdicts in the trial are those related to the alleged tapes that were shown to the jury in private, and these tapes have a big question of authenticity attached to them. Defense had raised concerns about the authenticity of the alleged videotapes from the beginning of the trial and had actually requested that a forensics expert be called in to examine the tapes and testify about their authenticity under oath, but presiding Judge Harry Leinenweber, for some reason, conveniently rejected the demands. In the related 2008 trial, a forensics expert had testified and ruled that the tape, that was the center of the allegations in that trial, was actually fake. This could just have been one of Judge Harry's concerns, especially given that a former detective had also taken the stand in Chicago, and confessed that he was certain that one of the tapes had actually been tampered with by the feds. Defense had also cast doubt on the origins of the central video, questioning who could have given it to Jim DeRogatis before the Chicago Sun-Times allegedly turned it over to the police. The renowned music critic allegedly found the unmarked VHS tape in a blank manila envelope in his mailbox after a tip-off by an anonymous caller, and even went on to make copies of the same before handing it over to the police. How could the police even have verified the authenticity of such a tape, whose real source is clearly unknown? Another of the prosecution's witnesses, Charles Freeman, also conceded in a cross-examination that he had actually kept copies of the said videos for nearly 20 years, alleging that it was not until a lawyer warned him in 2019 that police were poised to arrest him for possession of the inappropriate material, did he finally turn them over to law enforcement. In fact, Freeman himself confessed he had extorted R. Kelly, based on his claims of possession of the alleged videos, though he had claimed that he actually had retrieved them from Atlanta. From who in Atlanta? One can only wonder. He also admitted to lying to R. Kelly several times about the supposed videotapes, branding himself a liar. He had supposedly made numerous attempts to extort from R. Kelly using several alleged tapes in his possession over the years. The alleged tapes could just as well have been fabricated by Freeman himself in his greedy attempts to extort R. Kelly, but prosecution seemed less concerned about the authenticity and origin of the tapes themselves. One can only wonder why the jury was quick to rule against such evidence with such reasonable doubt looming. Could they have been under pressure from the presiding judge that had already exhibited utmost prejudice in the case? Well, the appeal will probably shed much more light on all these damning questions. Could these just as well be the same facts that will play center role in R. Kelly's pending appeals? Or could Jennifer Bonjean just as well be shelving several other tricks up her sleeve that we shall only see come into play during the appeal itself? You can trust Bonjean at this. Well, all we can do is wait. But one thing we all can be sure of, Bonjean will surely build a strong enough defense to clear R. Kelly of all the false allegations, and we should definitely be seeing R. Kelly walk out free in no time. The spirits in the R. Kelly fans' camp are equally high, with many actually certain that the jury was wrong to consider the said tapes in any of their rulings, having been unable to verify their full authenticity beyond reasonable doubt as is required by law. Jones Lee says, Bonjean will surely win this appeal, and it's evident the prosecution is already worried about what is coming their way in the appeal. The judge made a very grave mistake to show partiality in this whole trial. Judge Harry is most definitely the one that influenced the jury to rule wrongly, taking the alleged videotapes into consideration, yet they were not even sure of their authenticity. Judge Harry must have realized a little too late that his decision to keep away forensics was in fact more harm than good, and opted for the easy way out, completely disregarding the possibility of appeal. But boy, was he wrong. But the appeal will surely set the record straight. With all these doubts cast on the credibility of the tapes in question, prosecution will probably stand no chance against Bonjean when the time comes. Let's just be patient and wait it out, but we can be certain that the truth will come out soon enough and set R. Kelly free. Lenny says, you can trust Bonjean to already have a clear-cut strategy for the Chicago appeal, even before sentencing. Although we expect a fairer sentence in Chicago than the New York one, partly based on the guilt the judge must be feeling, having fought an unfair fight to try and incriminate R. Kelly on some count by influencing the jury, based on most likely unauthentic tapes, we can expect Bonjean to appeal without a doubt. More so, the odds are so clearly in R. Kelly's favor. Although we may never know the real reason Judge Harry rushed the R. Kelly Chicago trial, we could very well rejoice in the mistakes that came along with it. He never should have rejected the suggestion by defense to engage a forensics team to verify the authenticity of the said tapes. Without that report, the tapes could very well be easily thrown out in the pending appeal, and R. Kelly could very well easily walk free. Let's just wait it out. Justice shall be served. You can always trust Bonjean at that. That's all we had for you today. Please let us know in the comment section below whether there are any other facts you feel could help drive Bonjean's appeal for R. Kelly's freedom. We value your honest opinion. Thank you for watching LFN News, a production of LFN Media, giving you another view of issues at hand. To get notified whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now and hit the notification icon. And remember to give us your comment on the subject matter below.